choice isn't right. Choice isn't right.
I can't remember the last time I gave a damn about someone staring at me in public because I'm a person with a disability. If someone is staring at me while I am grocery shopping at the mall or having lunch with my coworkers, it has more to do with them than it does me. I have grown to embrace my uniqueness, and you should too. People with disabilities do not deserve to be stared at while in public simply because we have a body part that works differently. I do realize that not every person with a disability is as comfortable in their skin as I am, which makes it extremely difficult to deal with a stranger staring while you're going about your life. Some people just can't help themselves. There is always someone gawking at you with a confused look on their face, wondering what happened to you. Sometimes people ask me if I were in an accident. If I had $1 for every time someone asked me these questions, I would be able to pay off my student loans. I find these questions rude and presumptuous. Frankly, if you are not family or a close friend, the reason why I am a person with a disability is none of your business. The rudeness and the stare from typical people gets on my nerves. It also makes me and other individuals with disabilities feel like we are someone who is to be pitied. Or for that matter, people who see me as an inspiration bother me even more. Are you staring at me because you don't know how you would deal with being a person who is visually impaired or a wheelchair user? Are you staring at me because you can't believe a person with a disability is living, working, and playing in the community just like other people? Or are you inspired by my very presence? I don't feel I have to explain myself, and other people with disabilities shouldn't either. Because you want to stare a hole through us, we are too busy just living our lives. Instead of staring, take a minute and come up to me and introduce yourself, and I will do the same. After all, that's how conversations begin.
Well, I liked your piece, but I do think that sometimes what you said is very true, especially where people who are acquiring they have a new disability, because I've had people that I've known as friends and consumers here at the center say the reason they don't get out in public more is because they're worried about going out to eat and people staring at them and you know not being able to eat spaghetti without dripping sauce. And I always try to tell them, you know, typical people redecorate their clothes all the time. You just get a new wardrobe out of it. Nothing wrong with that. So, you know, I think that is a grave concern to persons with disabilities and an obstacle to them getting out in public. And you don't want people with disabilities to be any more isolated than we already are, just for the fact they think and know that people are staring at them because they're different.
Okay, well, for me, I can relate. I remember being younger and not wanting to go places because people would gawk at me, stare at me, really wouldn't talk to me, just look at me. Then when I realized the world was passing by and I was sitting in the house, I got tired of it and I was like, okay, I'm just going to start going out. It was hard. I did. Now, these days, I put on a good outfit since people going to be looking anyway, and I just go. I don't really notice people staring at this point. I think in a lot of ways, I've become accustomed to it, become immune. And typically, when I'm with someone else, they're the one to notice that the people are staring because, you know, I just don't notice at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, now what is the problem with being an inspiration? And do you feel like you're an inspiration or are you inspired by other people?
Personally, and this is just a cynic in me, do I feel like I'm an inspiration? No, I feel like that I get up every morning and I get an opportunity to do what I love. Now, in the midst of me doing what I love, If that helps somebody, that makes my day go even faster, and it makes my day complete. But I don't get up with the mission like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be this warrior on these red crutches fighting to free the people. No, that's not what I get up to do. What I get up to do is to go to work every day so I'm able to pay my bills, just like every other regular person. And Christina and I, we actually had an experience. We were in a Lyft ride going to the candy company, and this guy, he was just too through with our presence and the fact that we worked. He couldn't even wrap his mind around that. And Christina and I laughed about it, and we gave his ass 1 star too.
And never want to be picked up by him
And
again.
never want to be picked up by his ass again.
Well, I think it comes from such a low societal view and expectation when it comes to people with disabilities. Because I've had it happen to me too. People like, well, what did you do? And when you mention stuff like work or, oh, well, you work. Oh, well, you live alone. Oh, well, this and that. And people are shocked. But I think a lot of times you don't see our community out and about. I go places, you go places, Christina go places. And in my experience, the majority of the time when I go somewhere, I'm the only somebody that I notice with a visible disability. And it happens. And I think it's kind of like a teachable moment. Just like you got to teach people about people first language and all that. So, yes, it just breaks my soul when somebody wants to call me handicapped. And then I have to give them a whole spiel. No, this is not what this is. What I am is a whole complete person. This right here, this is a wheelchair. I'm a wheelchair user. And everywhere you are, guess what? It helps me be right there alongside you. But when it comes down to like people being inspired, if you're doing good work, whether you want to be or not, I think it just comes along with the territory.
Oh,
Well, though, I think that, I've heard you say many times that we did not get where we are by ourselves, that we were carried on the shoulders of others, which to me sounds like you might have been inspired somebody. So my question to you is, if you're not an inspiration, or you don't think you should be an inspiration to somebody, because of your disability, do you want to inspire them because you're a woman and sort of like Oprah, or do you want to inspire youth who are African American trying to make their way through school and struggling and scraping, trying to get out of whatever circumstances they are to better themselves? Is that not a good thing in that situation? And how is that different than from the person Allison having a disability?
Touche, Clift, touche. But I will say this. In all of those cases, yes, I'm African American. Yes, I'm a woman. But in each one of those separate instances, you get the opportunity to say, yes, I'm black and I'm proud. I'm a woman and I'm proud. I have yet to see a person come out and say, other than my shout out brothers and sisters, I am disabled and proud. I'm not out here because, I'm this woman warrior trying to inspire. Yeah, I just happen to be a woman who likes to cause trouble for people with disabilities. So what? That's how I look at it. And I am cynical about it because I feel like I know the difference when you're between the patronizing attitude that you have versus you saying, okay, Allison, good job. We're proud of what you do and thank you for what you do. And that's because when I'm doing simple things like in Walmart trying to go through the express lane, somebody will stop you and say, oh baby, it's so good that you out here living your
and
life.
They want to lay hands on you, don't they?
Or what else has happened to me, I actually went to the bathroom and the lady pulled me aside. I didn't even know if the lady had washed her hand. Baby, let me pray for you. No, I don't have time for that bull. You didn't even wash your hands, but yet you want to take time out to pray for me. No, those people, I don't particularly care for, and I don't particularly care for being somebody's, inspiration because I'm out here on these red crutches and the news is gonna pan my crutches and pan his wheels because we freedom fighting for people, those lowly people with disabilities. Even the national people did it when we were in DC. Oh, how could they drag those poor disabled people out of that office like that? we may be poor and we may be disabled, but we're nobody's charity case by any means. So that's how I look at it. It may be simple. This has been the Disability View, where the conversation starts here. I'm Allison Donald.
I'm Christina Clift.
And I'm T. Red.